all the beautifulness of going through different spiritual practices, ayahuasca journey, psilocybin journey, like all the different journey, doing the ketamine, doing the meditation, all that stuff, all those different breath work, cold water plunge, all that stuff, all beautiful, all a part of all of our journeys. But in the root of all that is you, your essence, who you are. But today we're talking about the spirituality trap. And what I'm saying is, remember that while you're going through this journey in this path of finding yourself, realize that the answer is what's going on, familia, and welcome to the show with your host, Sam Colon, aka The Messenger. How you guys doing today? Listen, today's topic is going to be something that I was unsure if I wanted to talk about. And it is the trap of spirituality. And I know there's a lot of people that watch the show that you guys are into your spiritual practices, right? And so I just want to give this quick disclosure. I'm not dissing the spiritual culture. I'm not dissing the spirituality community. What I'm saying is, somewhere out there, someone is using the spirituality practice and the urge and the desire for us to want to expand in our spiritual practice, in our spiritual knowing, to actually work against ourselves. All right? So, give you a second to really think about what it is that we are living through right now. And everything goes in cycles, but I'm talking about us right now, this generation. Think about how much the spiritual community has blown up, especially since the pandemic, right? Since then, it's just been blowing up. There's people doing ayahuasca all over the place. You got all these elite CEOs and everybody want to do plant medicine, and now you got psychedelics becoming legal. We got cannabis legal. Now we got, I think the mushrooms are becoming legal, where they're using it for certain therapies, LSD, special K, ketamine, all these different drugs are now they're becoming mainstream. And I had to be honest with myself as far as the whole spiritual practices and everything. Okay, where exactly are you feeling this for you, right? And so I sat down with it, and the first thing that I realized for myself was my physical conditioning. I really went through a path of and trust me, feeling good is not it, right? That's not the point that I'm trying to get here. Because I always feel good. What I'm talking about is this physical vessel that we're in, that you've been taught that's just a meat suit. Oh, it's just a meat suit. The truth is that this vessel that we're in houses the divine being that you are. Literally is the body that carries the spirit that you are here in this realm. So this body that we have should be taken care of, right? So you have that part where it's just a meat suit. Then you have the other part of spirituality where it's just love yourself the way you are, right? And now I'm not saying that don't love yourself exactly the way you are, but what I'm saying is don't become complacent to this vessel, this housing a divine being. Wouldn't it behoove you, me, and all of us to actually take the time to refine, to really work with this body, this housing, this divine being that you are, and actually push it to new limits, push it to new states, right? So recently I've been diving into this practice of pushing my body to a different in a different way to different limits, right? And so one of the practices is actually working out. And I'm realizing that when I'm fully submerged and pushing myself and doing things that I didn't think was possible, it's for me, a spiritual journey. I'm going through it's like an ayahuasca journey or a psilocybin journey, because I'm pushing myself beyond my comfort zone and I'm entering places that I was this I don't want to say not aware of, that I've forgotten. Right. So I'm going to give you an example of that. Just this week on Wednesday, I had my training session. Now, I have a personal trainer. We do 3 sessions a week. And on Wednesday session, he introduced me into something new. So one of the things that we do to warm up the body is we do flutter kicks, we do planks, we do shoulder touches, and so on and so forth to activate the core. And then after that, we start to move the body. Now, to activate the core, instead of just doing regular flutter kicks, no, he strapped my legs down with some resistance bands. So I had to do the flutter kicks with the resistance bands. Then there's another of the exercises is where we do it like a V shape. Also had resistance bands on it. And so I was pushing. And I realized that there was a point where I was about to break. Like, I can't do this. And he looked at me, he felt it. You ain't giving up on me, bro. We ain't come this far to come this far. Let's go, push. And I pushed. And guess what? Boom, this surge of energy just blew up. And I'm like, let's do this. And from there, the next workout, the energy just kept on growing and growing and growing. There was no resistance as to what it is that I can do that day. Even he was like, yo, my mind's blown, dude. Like, how are you doing all this today? And it's because I broke through those veils of limitations, if we want to call it that. Now, later on that day, I'm taking a shower. At night, I'm taking a shower. I'm in the shower. I'm showering up. And then that night, typically, I know I tell you guys, like most nights, me and my wife, we take a shower together. But that night, she was actually putting the baby to bed, and I had to jump in the shower. So I'm taking a shower, and I'm in there. And then I got a visualization of like what was going, because I actually, after the workout, like my body felt in shock, right? And so as I'm taking a shower, I'm like, asking like, what happened? Like, what exactly happened? And I took a deep dive inside, and as I'm taking that ride inside, I'm looking, and everything inside, for me at least, looks like the galaxy, right? And so I'm in there, and I'm going through, and I'm realizing, because of this work, of this extreme work, it opened up different aspects of my consciousness where I'm seeing within myself like different solar systems, different ancient civilizations being awakened. Like, I know it sounds a little crazy, but this is what I'm experiencing within myself, and realizing that I'm activating things inside of myself that's been dormant for a very long time. Now, as far as like the spiritual practices, the reason why I'm saying this is because for me, again, for example, I've gotten to the point where, yes, I do respect my body. I do take care of my body. I do energy work on my body. I ground myself. I get sun. I take all the supplements. But the point of like pushing through new levels consistently, expanding, refining, that was not on my path in the past. It wasn't something that I thought about. It wasn't, okay, I want to refine to see what this body can really do. As a spirit housing this body, how can I guide my body to see exactly what it is it can do here? Without the limitations or whatever they say, oh, have protein, do this, like without none of that stuff. Like, no, truly just me and this body taking a journey and saying, let's see what we can do. Now, when if we allow ourselves to be subjected to the spiritual practices, what they say, it's just a meat suit. It's just a meat suit. Then on the other side of that, you have like, oh, just love yourself just the way you are. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change anything. Now, there is truth to these things. But what I am saying here is have discernment and really, 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 for yourself, forget about what the world is saying. For yourself, sit down and have that navigation with yourself. Navigate that, right? Now, there's another thing that I want to talk about, and it is about emotions, right? Expressing your emotions. And from myself, I've had the same realizations that, typically in the beginning, what starts to happen is in your spiritual practices, you start to awaken and you realize certain behaviors, and you start making changes and pivots, and you start, working your way through these things, developing and learning how to respond versus react. Now, as you get deeper into this path, And if you guys can relate, please like drop some comments on here, because I feel like this is a conversation that we should all be having, and being truthful with ourselves and all of ourselves and everyone else in the community, like really sharing. And so having that realization in the beginning, you start making these pivots and changes. And then what starts to happen is when certain things happen, you almost have like this guilt or fear about feeling something. You're realizing through all the work that you just did, you're actually going in reverse here, right? Because now, at first, you had the awareness, so you made the changes. But now, when the awareness is there, what's fueling you is guilt and shame, right? So now we go from actually working through things to now suppressing. And here's the thing: as you're in this spiritual pathing, you're becoming very smart. Your mind is evolving. Your ego is also evolving through all of this. And as all this is starting to transition, you become smarter. So it goes from suppression, which now you're making a conscious choice with suppression, making a conscious choice to say, no, I ain't gonna behave like that. Like, that's not right. But you're doing it through guilt. You're not doing it through a sense of heightened awareness, right? So it starts with that, and then it goes into repression, right? Repression is unconscious suppression, right? So again, the more that you are in this spiritual path, you become smarter and wiser. And what starts to happen is it's almost like your mind starts to trick you. And like when something happens, automatically it goes into the unconscious mind because you don't want to address it. And that starts to build up and build up and build up and build up. And then guess what happens? You start to feel a certain way. And you start to you start to, what they say in the Christian community, you start to backslide, right? Because now you're regressing your progress because of the guilt, because of the shame, and then it becomes unconscious behavior and suppression, right? And then guess what happens? Most people, they give up. They go right back to the way they were. Yes, they have some changes from the person that they was before, but they go right back into the BS. I tried that spiritual shit, but that shit ain't really work, man. Worked for a little bit, but that shit ain't really work. No, it works. It works. It's just you've been misled. You've been misled that you feeling or having a human fucking experience of being pissed off about something is wrong. It's not wrong. What's wrong is, what are you going to do with that feeling? Are you going to react on that feeling? Are you going to say things that are going to cut others or hurt others or freaking put darkness onto others? Or are you going to take the time to feel that shit? You pissed, be pissed. And learn how to channel that energy. First of all, be with it. Second of all, channel it where you learn from it. Then when you learn from it, you speak about it. And then when you speak about it, now you can share it in your reality. Instead of trying to suppress an emotion, that is what you are. You are human. We have emotions. Learning how to actually feel those emotions and then navigating them is the key for you. Not to suppress it because you're going through this spiritual practice. I remember when I first started, I got into meditation, and and everybody in my circle and everybody in the business world and everybody around me, they're like, "Oh, Sam, you're changing," because I definitely was. Now there were times where I still would. It wasn't reacting; it was responding, but it was a stern response. It was a very stern response. And for the people around me that thought that I was being lulled to sleep, they're like, hold on, wait a minute. And right away, it's like, ain't you into the spirituality though? Ain't you into like this meditation? Why are you acting like that? Fuck you. How about that? Fuck you. And then after they got over themselves, now we can have a conversation. Because just because you're going through this passion, you're working on yourself and you're evolving and you change, does not mean that these feelings are going to go away overnight. They don't. And the truth is that it's a reflection of your reality as well. So when you allow yourself to feel these emotions and you learn how to sit with it, become observant. Because here's another thing that I want to throw in here. You are not your emotions. You're not your thoughts, right? So the thought has no feeling, no emotions. But the thought does then ignite that feeling and emotion. And when you take the time to sit with that feeling and emotion and observe it, you realize, I'm not that feeling and emotion. Guess what? Because that thing goes away. When you sit down and you actually be pissed off. For me, I like going on walks. I be pissed off. I go on a walk. By the time I'm done with the walk, I don't even know what the fuck I was pissed about. But when I sit down, my earlier practice was sit with it. Sit. Okay, I'm pissed. Sit. Let it go. Let it pass. Let it do whatever. And you get to the point that you realize, like, well, that piss feeling was there and now it's gone. And then you start to have the realization, like, oh, I'm not that. I'm not that anger, That's not me. It's just a feeling. Right? Same thing with your thoughts. When you start to observe your thoughts, you realize, like, I'm not those thoughts. I'm the being, the awareness observing the thoughts. And again, I started this off with the topic of spirituality. The spiritual community is a trap. And I said that to literally to capture your attention. But then after that, I also gave a disclosure. I have the utmost respect for the spiritual community. However, there are things and components that have been going on that are here to manipulate you, that are here to keep you in a certain state, that are here to keep you in shame and guilt, that are here to keep you in apathy, that are here to keep you down in poverty. And just because, and here's the thing, the way it's set up is like going to this spiritual practices and everything will be provided for you. And then while you're in it, you realize this shit's a lie. But then while you're in it, you start to pick up on behaviors and you see the patterns of everybody else. And I'm not saying that everybody in the spiritual community is broke, but when you realize a lot of them are. Like the abundance of that what we are is abundance. And that abundance in the spiritual community, there's a lot of spiritual practice that they're not. And it's like, just give everything up. Don't want anything. To give up all material. No, that's not the world we live in. Maybe those practices were good 30,000 years ago, 15,000, 10,000, 5,000, whatever. But the truth is that we do live in, and there's a part of this journey that, yes, you need to understand that the materialism of this world is not you, and you don't need it. However, you are co-creating here with a whole bunch of beautiful creators that we want to create new things. And guess what? Those things that we create is material. It's just like when I buy nice things, I don't buy nice things just because I want to buy that nice thing. I look at it as like, I'm going to pay, say, $20,000 for this watch. Not because it's a $20,000 watch and I'm like, oh, I got to roll it. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do for me that there is a creator amongst us that had the courage to actually sit down and put their creativity into this watch and had, again, the courage to say, I'm charging 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, 70, whatever amount of money for this thing. It's the same thing with like a designer shirt. Right? They're designer shirts that I paid $300, $500 for. Like, does that make sense to pay it? No, but guess what? There was a creator out here that actually had the time to actually create from their purity to bring something into this creation for us to experience. And I respect that. So yeah, absolutely. If I like it, I'm buying it. to honor that creator. Right? So I know that may not seem like a piece, like it goes with this other things that I was talking about before, but just think about honoring one another as creators. Let that sink in. Because when you realize that, you understand that we live in an ecosystem of creators under one creation. And when you have that realization, you realize that there are going to be things in this freaking reality that we're choosing to do it as a unit. Just like we say material, like the things, the couch that I'm sitting on, the clothes that I'm wearing, the Jordans that I'm wearing, the fitted that I'm wearing, the jewelry that I'm wearing. Are just all material things. You know, and in past spirituality practices, it's like, I forget all that. Like, that's all materialism. Like, no, that's not what we live in. Right now, our current state is, yes, you want nice things, that's okay. Now, what I'm saying is make sure that you're coming from a conscious place and that you know you don't need it. Oh, I need this. No, you don't. I'm choosing it. It's a difference. And the way that you choose what it is that you want is by being aware. And when you are aware, now you can make a choice. But when you're unaware and you're behaving in unconscious behaviors, then you're going to be just like sucked into the consumer world. That's another trap. Consumerism trap. That's another one. That's a whole nother topic we could talk about. But today we're talking about the spirituality trap. And what I'm saying is, remember that while you're going through this journey in this path of finding yourself, realize that the answer is within you. Not anywhere else, it's within you. And that's another trap that is out here in the spirituality world. That trap is probably the biggest one. Because they'll tell you the crystal has the power. The gems have the power. The tree has the power. The land has the power. And there are practices that talk about the powers within. Right? And that is what I would love for you guys to understand and navigate for yourself and actually find that for yourself. All the beautifulness of going through different spiritual practices, ayahuasca journey, psilocybin journey, like all the different journey, doing the ketamine, doing the meditation, all that stuff, all those different breath work, cold water plunge, all that stuff, all beautiful, all a part of all of our journeys. If not, it wouldn't even be here. But in the root of all that is you, your essence, who you are. Take the time to actually figure that out for yourself. No crystal out there is going to do that for you. No plant medicine is going to do that for you. And if you get like little spurts of it, it's a little spurt. You'll probably have a good high for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then you're going to be searching again. What's my next medicine journey? Oh, I haven't tried Iboga yet. Let me go try that one. Like, bro, come on. Like, don't fall into that trap. You don't need any medicine. I've said that in other videos. You don't need none of that. The only thing that you need is to surrender to yourself. Actually sit with yourself. Allow yourself to process, see, go within. Don't think, don't do, not just see. Sit there. And trust me, all the waste is going to start falling apart. All the freaking stuff that's holding you back is going to come up to the surface. You're going to start working through all that stuff. And then the more that you work through it, the more that you become aware of yourself. And you keep on inching along. And the moment that you think like, oh, this doesn't work, because that's where they want you. This spiritual stuff doesn't work. And you start regressing back into different religions because that's where you feel safe. And I've seen it happen a lot lately. People going back into their original religions. And again, I'm not judging nobody. I just want you to be aware. Be aware, because they take you, like all the different culture, the spiritual culture right now, the spiritual trap that's going on right now, they get everybody to the point where, this doesn't work. And it's because they have shown you the path that the answers are all outside of you. And you're forgetting to go within inside of yourself. And so when things as you start this work and you're going within yourself and things start getting good, and you start like, oh, let me try this, and let me try that, and let me try this, because of the excitement and the energy that you feel and you want to try all this new stuff, great, go for it. But don't stop going within. Every day, go within. Connect with yourself. Let yourself find those answers from within. And when these traps start to arrive around you, you're going to see them. And when you see them, you'll be like, "Sam, this motherfucker." Because trust me, you will see it. All right? So, I'm going to wrap up this episode on that note. And I want to let you know that I love you very much. I'm sending you so much love, peace, joy, prosperity. And remember, I am you, you're me, we are one.